The year is 1917. World War I has been raging for 3 long years. The Western Front, a brutal scar across Europe, stretches from the English Channel to the Swiss border. Millions of soldiers are locked in a deadly stalemate, trapped in a war of attrition. Hope seems like a distant memory. It is in this cauldron of despair that the Battle of Passchendaele will unfold, a battle forever etched in history as a symbol of the terrible cost of war. The strategic importance of Passchendaele, a small village in Flanders, Belgium, lay in its proximity to German submarine bases. Allied command believed that capturing these bases would cripple the German war effort. The plan was ambitious: break through the German lines and push onto the coast. However, the reality on the ground would prove to be far more complex and challenging than anyone could have imagined. The battleground itself was a nightmare landscape. Weeks of relentless rain had transformed the Flanders clay into a sea of mud. Trenches flooded, swallowing men and equipment whole. Movement became a Herculean task, every step a struggle against the sucking mire. The air reeked of mud, cordite and death. The relentless shelling churned the already saturated ground into a quagmire. Men drowned in mud, their cries for help swallowed by the incessant roar of artillery. Even those who escaped the mud faced a constant barrage from German machine guns and artillery. The conditions were so horrific that they tested the limits of human endurance. On July 31st, 1917, the Allied offensive began with a massive artillery bombardment. British, Canadian, Australian and New Zealand troops went over the top, hoping to achieve a swift breakthrough. But the German defences held strong. Machine guns chattered, mowing down waves of attacking soldiers. The advance quickly bogged down in the mud and blood. Despite heavy losses, the Allies pushed on. Weeks of brutal fighting ensued, characterized by small, costly gains. Each yard of ground was won at a terrible price. The initial optimism that had fueled the offensive slowly evaporated, replaced by a grim determination to simply survive. Section 4. Heroes and Casualties, the Human Cost of Passchendaele. Amidst the horror, acts of extraordinary courage and sacrifice shone through. Soldiers, already pushed to the brink of exhaustion, displayed incredible bravery in the face of overwhelming odds. Medics risked their lives to tend to the wounded, while stretcher bearers struggled through the mud to evacuate casualties. But the cost of these acts of heroism was tragically high. The Battle of Passchendaele claimed the lives of hundreds of thousands of men on both sides. For many, their final resting place would be the unforgiving mud of Flanders. Section 5. A Legacy of Loss, Remembering Passchendaele. After 100 days of brutal fighting, the offensive finally ground to a halt in November 1917. The Allies had gained some ground, but at a horrific cost. The victory, if it could be called that, rang hollow. Passchendaele became synonymous with the futility and brutality of trench warfare. Today, the battlefields around Passchendaele stand as silent memorials to the sacrifice of a generation. The names of the fallen are etched on countless memorials, a stark reminder of the human cost of war. We remember Passchendaele not to glorify war, but to learn from its tragic lessons and strive for a more peaceful future.